1 week ago, Ouachita took this court for its first home game of the season. A 78-74 victory over Harding in what was a thriller down the stretch, outscoring the Bison 7-2 over the final 145 of play. It was a great day to be a Ouachita Tiger as they picked up not only their first victory of the season, but their first home win here at Bill Vining Arena. A week has passed and they're back at home, but that came after two crushing blows on the road. First, across the street at the Duke Wells Center, a loss by 29 points, 96-67 to those Reddies of Henderson State, and then a trip down to Magnolia, an impromptu trip, in fact, supposed to play Arkansas Tech, but ended up playing Arkansas-Monticello, Southern Arkansas, in what was a non-conference game, despite being longtime conference foes. 83-62 was the final there, and Ouachita really struggled in both of those games. Meanwhile, their opponent here today, Arkansas-Monticello, is heading in the other direction. They have won 2 games in a row. A record of 6-2, 5-2 in Great American Conference action. Ouachita has an overall record of 1-4 and 1-3 in conference play. Last time out for Monticello, it was a 73-57 win against Henderson. And as we mentioned, Ouachita loses to SAU 83-62. One team riding a win streak, the other riding a losing streak. But one thing we know about this Ouachita Tigers team is over the course of the Dennis Nutt era in the last decade, they have played a lot better at home than they have on the road. Thanks for being with us on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. It's a little dreary outside, but it's perfect inside here at the Bill Vining Arena. I'm Michael Westbrook from the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, and the students from the Rogers Department of Communications here with us as well, as long as with our director, Chris Babb. It's going to be a great day for basketball, and as we said, we love it when Ouachita is at home. They play better here at home. And they're going to take on an Arkansas-Monticello team that is playing really well right now. Let's look at the conference standings in the Great American Conference. Arkansas-Monticello tied atop the leaderboard with Southern Arkansas. If you're just joining us this year, maybe you haven't kept up with it just a whole lot, yes, you'll see an Eastern Division and a Western Division. And that is because of the travel situation, trying to keep travel limited this year. So Monticello and SAU tied atop at 5-2. Arkansas Tech at 4-3. Henderson 3-5. Harding 2-4. And Ouachita there at 1-4. So a win could go a long way today. On the western side of things, Oklahoma Baptist 5-2. Southwestern 5-3. East Central Southern Nazarene 4-4 each. Southeastern's 3-5, and Northwestern is 0-3. Now, obviously, a discrepancy of games there, as some teams have been able to play more than others. And that's going to be the case throughout the entire basketball season, as it will go to a winning percentage as far as conference tournament seeding is concerned. In fact, only 5 games listed on the schedule for today. One of those has since been postponed, so only 4 games in the Great American Conference on the men's side. This is the only Division II men's basketball game in the state of Arkansas today. Monticello and Ouachita coming up with a 4 o'clock start. Southern Nazarene is in Weatherford at Southwestern Oklahoma State. Oklahoma Baptist travels to the Kerr Center in Ada to take on East Central. And Northwestern goes to Bloomer Sullivan Arena in Durant to take on Southeastern Oklahoma State. We've got about 6 minutes until tip-off between Arkansas-Monticello and your Ouachita Tigers. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll give you the stats comparison matchup between these two teams, plus our players to watch and the starting lineups. It is all coming up next. You're watching the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. It's the first matchup of the season here today for Ouachita and Arkansas-Monticello. They were supposed to play earlier in the year on January the 14th down at the Steelman Fieldhouse in Monticello, but that game was canceled. And so the way the schedule is set up this year, the way it was intended, was that each Arkansas school would play the other Arkansas schools 4 times. That means if we get this one in today, which we will, there'll still be 2 more matchups to come between the Ouachita Tigers and the Monticello Boll Weevils. Those are scheduled for February 13th and February the 25th. And that one on February 25th, by the way, would be the last home game of the regular season. Let's see how the two sides match up. Well, close to the same scoring totals this year. Monticello just a tick under 75 a game. Ouachita scoring 70 points a game. The difference, Monticello shooting the ball a lot better. They're going to get more opportunities. And look at that three-point percentage for Monticello, 43.3%. Now, the other night, Ouachita did hit a season-high 7 3-pointers. Let's hope more of those will start to fall for the Tigers. They're going to need it to keep pace today with the Weevils. Free throw percentage, they're 2 of the best in the league. In fact, the 2 best in the league. Monticello comes in as the number 1 free throw shooting team, and Ouachita is second best in the league from the charity stripe. One other significant difference on this stat sheet is the next tally there. Points allowed per game, Ouachita is giving up 10 more than they score. Meanwhile, Monticello is giving up 11 less than they score. Monticello has the highest point differential in the league as far as plus-minus goes. They are plus 11.5 in points per game. Rebounds, Ouachita owns the advantage there, and assists per game, that goes to UAM. Ouachita turning the ball over a little bit more than Monticello. Now, the last time out, they were able to win the turnover battle. So let's see how that holds up here today, because we know this Ouachita team not afraid to slow the game down, grind it out. But when you do that, you have to make sure you take advantage of the possessions that you have. So we'll have to hold on to the basketball today. Almost time for the starting lineups, which will come from the PA announcer, Dr. Casey Model. We've got 2 minutes on the clock before the start of that. Let's look at a couple of players to watch here today. Of course, you know about K.D. Smith, and he is looking for a milestone, 144 points away from being in the 1,000-point club as a Ouachita Tiger, averaging 10 points a game and nearly 5 rebounds a game. Doesn't shoot the 3 that often, but he is a very good free throw shooter. He's 14 of 19 this season, right on par with what Ouachita's team average is. Miles Daniels, well, he's just one of a number of players to watch for UAM. They've got 4 that average in double figures, and he is just at about 17 a game, 3 rebounds a contest. And that big number to look for, as we mentioned earlier with the team stats, well, he's a big part of the 3-point barrage of Arkansas-Monticello. Can you believe that? Almost 50% from downtown, and 19 of 25 at the free throw line. Good numbers from Miles Daniels, who is from Gulfport, Mississippi, and K.D. Smith is from Conway, Arkansas. You'll see this Monticello team, a lot of players from Mississippi, Georgia, and that area is where they like to recruit from. So again, Ouachita 1-4 overall. They're 1-3 in GAC play. UAM is 6-2 and 5-2 in conference play. Coach Dennis Nutt has been around for just about all of the Great American Conference. In fact, all of the GAC, his 10th season. And Kyle Tolan has now been at Monticello for 7 years after coming over from Oklahoma Baptist just a couple of seasons back. 7 years now as the head coach. Time seems to be flying. I didn't realize it had been that long as I was looking up my numbers earlier today. And just about time for the starting lineups. We will go ahead and get you those Arkansas-Monticello starters, and this is the projected starters that we had a little while ago, so we'll notify you if anything changes there. DeJuan Jones is the first starter for Arkansas-Monticello, the 5'11 junior from Killeen, Texas. Number 3, Miles Daniels, 6'3 senior from Gulfport, Mississippi at the guard spot. Denzel McDuffie, a 6'4" senior from Jackson, Mississippi. Kind of plays that guard forward position. Lemmy Howard wearing number 24, and he was a big key this week for UAM, a senior out of Mississippi. And Max Warren, the 6'5 junior from Manchester, Georgia. And again, this Monticello team is tied for first place in the Great American Conference. And so this is a big, big game for them on the road. If you can get wins on the road in this league, you can be successful. But it's even bigger, really, for Ouachita because they got to protect their home court, and they just really need a win after a couple of road losses. So Kyler Haynes was one of the starters that was changed there. He's a senior from Augusta, Georgia, actually transferred from Arkansas Tech, so we're familiar with him. And I believe everything else was the same for Arkansas-Monticello. Now those Ouachita Tigers, the starters look like this. The number 2, Lawrence Nero for Ouachita. Lawrence Nero is a senior, 6'2", 190 out of Hot Springs, Arkansas from Lakeside. The guard averaging 3.5 a game in about 18.5 minutes per contest. Also see Davion Bankston, the 6'6", 180 junior from Little Rock out of NOC Tonkawa. The forward's averaging 10.5 a game. Number 23, DJ Kane, the 6'1", 198-pound junior from Round Rock, Texas. The guard's averaging 11 points per contest. Katie Smith, our player to watch, the senior out of Conway, 6'2", 195. And number 32, Matt Stanley, the senior from Cabot, listed at 6'8", 220. Forward is averaging 6.5 points a game and 3.8 rebounds a game. Stanley is playing about 21 minutes a contest this season. When you talk about the stats so far this year, it's a little misleading, the fact that Ouachita has only played 5 games. Arkansas-Monticello has played 8. So it's not like baseball and softball where you have rainouts and you have some teams who play less. Every year you expect basketball to play the same amount of games, but there's going to be some numbers from Monticello that you're going to hear about today that they are really, really good. So just be prepared for a lot of three-point shooting and kind of an up-tempo style game. Let's see if Ouachita can control it early. They do have the opening tip, and they'll have the first possession. Again, we're high up in the rafters today, but it's a beautiful spot to broadcast a basketball game. And as of today, still no fans in attendance. 3 for Ouachita to start the game, buried by DJ Kane. So a lot of three-point shooting talk in the opening pregame, and so far both sides have launched from deep. Ouachita hitting, Monticello missing. But you saw how quickly Monticello got the ball down the court and got a shot in the air. And you also saw the Ouachita wanted to try to get up and down quickly there. It did not work out. UAM with a drive around Stanley. That's up and in for Kyler Haynes. So 2 quick possessions for UAM so far. Ouachita on their 3rd trip down. KD Smith averaging 10 a game. Not try to work it inside to Stanley. He was open. Instead, back around the perimeter. Bankston has really come on strong. Kane not afraid to shoot again. How about that? Also said in the pregame, Ouachita just seems to play a little bit better here at home. And that's 2 3-pointers very early on from DJ Kane. Ouachita's numbers from three-point range this year, shooting 25%. Kane had taken only a handful of three-pointers, 9 of 31 in 5 games. But 2 for 2 so far today, 6-2 early, Ouachita. Tigers with it back. Lawrence Nero, and his pass poked free, intended for Bankston, knocked out by Lemmy Howard. Bankston and Kane both averaging double figures. You put Smith in there as well, 3 players in double figures for Ouachita. And Kane, who's hit back-to-back three-pointers to start the game, ends up traveling with that one, a turnover for the Tigers. Entering today's game in 5 contests, the Tigers had 10 different players who have already started a game. Coach Nutt likes to adjust the lineup from time to time. A lot of times he gets the opportunity to do that in the first 4 or 5 games that are non-conference. K.D. Smith steals the pass, will give to Nero, and Nero's fouled. Reach in there on Miles Daniels, number 3 for Monticello. His first foul, game's first foul. At 6-2 Ouachita. Free throws coming for the Tigers. Lawrence Nero. And Nero remains perfect at the line this season. Had only 3 previous attempts, but has knocked them all in. We got to be impressed with the start of Ouachita so far. A couple of threes from Lawrence Nero. A couple of free throws there from Nero. Kane hitting a couple of baskets. 8-2 the advantage as Daniels goes into the lane and will hang long enough to draw some contact, and now Miles Daniels is heading to the free throw line. Put the foul on Davion Bankston, his first. Gets awfully quiet in here before those free throws without the fans. And so both good, making it 8-4. K.D. Smith off the Stanley screen. Ouachita's going to run it back the other direction. Stanley gets past his defender, will take it himself, and a charge is going to be called on Matt Stanley. Interesting. Full court press from the Ouachita Tigers. UAM giving up just 63.4 points a game. Their fans might be a little surprised to know they've already given up 8 here in the first 3.5 minutes. Hook shot won't go for Lemmy Howard. Rebound by Ouachita. Kane working up top on Denzel McDuffie. Picks up his dribble. Needs some help. Bailed out by Nero. Still got enough time. Backdoor pass underneath, and fouled is Kendaris Smith. So KD going to the line. Good backdoor cut. Good look. Nice bounce pass. Foul on Max Warren, his first. So KD Smith will be at the line. That one is up and in. Marvin Williams-Dunn, the freshman guard from Auckland, New Zealand, is on the floor for the first time for Ouachita. Lawrence Nero receives a break. Second free throw is good for Smith. And we also see Kendall Frey come into the game. He is a junior guard from Los Angeles, California. Dwan Jones will bring the ball up the court, and he is guarded by Williams-Dunn. This Monticello team has had 2 really big wins this week already, playing their 3rd game this week. You wonder if maybe they're a little bit tired. There's a nice move on the inside over Stanley. Give the basket to Max Warren, his first 2. Wins over Southern Arkansas and Henderson. And, of course, they're tied with SAU in the standings, so you know that one was a battle throughout, although it was a double-digit win for UAM. Bankston, a little bit offline that time, and a rebound on the backside pulled in by UAM. Inside 16 to play in the opening half. Ouachita 10, Monticello 6. Everybody makes it into the conference tournament this year, and they're going to seed the teams based on win percentage. So for Ouachita, who's had so many games already canceled, these games are really important as far as seeding could go, perhaps. Media timeout hits at the 15-18 mark of the opening first half of play. Ouachita 10, Monticello 6. We're back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
Community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Tigers 2 for 3 from the floor. They've hit 4 free throws so far for their 10 points. Monticello 2 of 4 from the floor and 2 of 2 at the free throw line. 10-6 as play resumes. Ouachita leads Monticello. Just hit that first immediate timeout of the first half. And the Tigers in possession here from Bill Vining Arena. Big baskets coming from DJ Kane. He's hit 2 3-pointers. He's joined by Smith, Bankston, Williams Dunn, and also Madarius Hobson is on the floor for the first time. We did not see Hobson in the game a week ago. Kane's going to come up short that time, and it looked as if that might have been partially blocked or even hit on the arm a little bit. Maybe he just short-armed it just a tad, but you could tell that it was going to be offline the moment it left his hands. Off of the screen, going to the rim is Jones, circles it around into the corner, and no shot there. Good defense from Ouachita to keep Monticello from getting open. Shot clock's down to 8 as the Weevils got to make their move soon. Jones picks up his dribble with 4, goes to the interior, and a right-hand hook will roll in for Max Warren. So Warren has 4 of Monticello's 8 points, and we got a one-possession game. Both teams shooting 50% from the floor now. Reverse layup won't go in for Bankston, and he has missed at the rim a couple of times, but some difficult shots. Back the other way, a layup will not fall for DeJuan Jones. Kane, nice pass to Smith, and he will finish the layup. Give DJ Kane the assist, and KD Smith with the basket. He has 4. Nice look in traffic there. Now DeJuan Jones up top for UAM. Open shooter for Monticello, and that one is knocked in by Kendall Fry. Kendall Fry. Smith on the wing. Hobson, not a big guy, but they've got him playing down on the low block there. He listed 6'3", 187. Turnover on Ouachita, and we got subs for both sides here. Jones is out for UAM. Keon Craddock, the guard from Garland, Texas, is in. And also we will see from Dermott, Arkansas, the sophomore guard Xavier Hall for Ouachita. Ouachita has led through the first 7 minutes of this contest. This would be a chance for UAM to get its first advantage. On the wing, Fry with it, sends it to the corner. And Monticello has also had a couple of possessions here lately where things have developed extremely slow. Up top, 3 won't go with 1 on the shot clock there off the shot from Fry. And Kane has it. They're not going to give DJ Kane too many more open looks, I wouldn't think, after hitting his first couple of threes. But Xavier Hall is open from the corner. Cannot get the roll. McDuffie the board. Only NCAA Division II men's basketball game in Arkansas today as the others were canceled. The hook shot won't go that time from Fry. Kind of has that shot down. Excuse me, that was Max Warren. Warren, who's hit a couple of those. And we hope to be back with you at home on February the 8th, would be the next home matchup. Kane misses that one short while fading away. Out on the break is Monticello's McDuffie. Layup does not fall. DJ Kane the rebound, and Ouachita looks to push the other way. It's going to be a three from Madarius Hobson. Hobson hits the three in transition to put Ouachita back up by 4. And now Miles Daniels able to hit for UAM. So a quick counter from Miles Daniels. And if there was a crowd, we'd say we quiet the crowd on that shot. But don't have that here today. And now taken away up top. Fry has it stripped. Foul called. Hobson will be charged for the foul, but he did not give up the easy 2. First foul on Hobson, and it brings us to a timeout with 11:09 to play. Ouachita still on top, 15-13 against those pesky Weevils of Monticello. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. $11:09 to play in the first half. Ouachita leads Arkansas-Monticello 15-13. Pretty good start for Ouachita. A couple of threes to start the game by DJ Kane. They've also been a perfect 4 of 4 at the free throw line. Hobson hit a 3. Smith has 4 points overall. And we've got free throws coming for Arkansas-Monticello. Okay, so it is Frey. I had that right. So everybody who has been tuned in yelling at me to get it right, it is Frey. Kendall Frey hits the free throw. And he's got 4 points. We mentioned during the pregame, these two teams were supposed to have played each other on January the 14th in Monticello, but that one was canceled. So it is the first matchup of the season between UAM and Ouachita. We are tied at 15. And we also see Alex Scariolo, the redshirt freshman guard from Spain, in the game. Scariolo thought about it, runs off the three-point line instead. An extra pass goes over to Williams-Dunn, and Dunn cannot get that shot to fall, and so DeJuan Jones with the rebound. Still, Monticello has not had the lead in this game. There's a blocking foul underneath. Stanley will be called for the foul. 2 fouls on Matt Stanley. So Stanley goes out with his 2 fouls, and that is the 4th team foul on Ouachita. As we mentioned, Monticello has not had the lead yet, but they're going to get it here. Put-back basket goes for Lemmy Howard. Nobody blocked out underneath. And Howard gives Monticello its first lead at 17-15. Coach not happy with that at all. And so he takes a timeout. We'll keep it right here for this 30-second timeout with 10:27 to play in the first half. 14 fouls for Ouachita, only 2 for UAM. So One thing about Ouachita this year is they've gotten behind early in the first half. They've played teams even, exactly even, 209 points each in the second half in their 5 games. But getting behind early has been a problem. So you like where you're at right now if you're Ouachita, even though you're down by 2. You've held the lead for almost the entire first 10 minutes of this first half. We'll head near 10 minutes to play in the first half on this possession. Taken away near half court. McDuffie with a steal and a thunderous jam. One thing that is concerning here today is that Ouachita has thrown the ball away near half court or up in front of that three-point line on multiple occasions. A couple of times it's just been knocked out of bounds, but on other occasions it's been stolen away and it's led to points. Underneath, Hobson gives the power dribble, misses the shot, and a rebound by Howard, and here comes UAM on the break. Speedster Jones all the way to the rim. Shot won't fall. Rebound by Xavier Hall. It's taken away, and it's going to be 2 more for UAM. At the basket, Frey has 2 more. He has 7 to now lead all scorers ahead of DJ Kane's 6. And just like that, Monticello has taken a 6-point advantage, and Ouachita has turned it over again. So Scariolo was caught hanging in the air and couldn't come down with it. Gave it to Bankston, but off the fingertips of Bankston and out of bounds. Sophomore from Boonville, Blakely Cobb on the floor for UAM for the first time. Jones will run the offense. Guarded by Scariolo. It was 15-13. This is an 8-0 run from UAM, and it could get worse. It does. Miles Daniels scores, and he has an and-one opportunity coming his way. Foul is on Alex Scariolo, his first. All of a sudden, a 10-3 run for the Weevils. Free throw here for Miles Daniels. He was our player to watch at the start of the game. He's 19 of 25 from the free throw line, averaging nearly 17 points a game. Daniels joins his teammate Frey with 7. There's Xavier Hall connecting. That's a big basket. Ouachita needed that, a 2. And that slows down an 11-3 UAM run. Pressure out front from the Tigers. Down to 10 to shoot for UAM. A drive by Jones. Kicks into the corner. Wide open shooter. Won't go. Offensive board. Cobb blocked by Scariolo. And Ouachita gets out of that unscathed. Ouachita typically wins the rebounding battle against their opponents, but a couple of times they've been beaten on the offensive glass there. K.D. Smith able to hit. That's a three-pointer from downtown for K.D. Smith. Didn't really expect him to take that shot there, but he now has 7, and it's a 4-point game. Hall will guard Daniels up top. 8 minutes to play in the first half. Down to the baseline to the big man Howard. Double team, blocked out of bounds. Good job that time for the backside help. That was Bankston who came over, went straight up with Howard. Now the under 8 media timeout. It's at 7:48 to play. Monticello leads Ouachita 24-20. Back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
Ouachita. Ouachita. Ouachita.
Is it pronounced Ouachita?
Searching for Ouachita Baptist University.
Back in Texas, everybody pronounces it Wichita, but really, it's Ouachita.
Ouachita. Ouachita.
How would you pronounce it?
Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita Baptist University. Get it right.
It's Ouachita, people. It's Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita, people. That's what I always tell people. I told somebody this week how to pronounce Ouachita Baptist, in fact. somebody down in Texarkana who is now a believer. How about that? 24-20 is our score. Monticello with the lead on the Ouachita Tigers. 7:48 to play in the first half. Long way to go in this one, but it's a good game, back and forth. Typical of what we typically see here from Ouachita at home. Was not so pretty across the street earlier in the week. Got behind really early against Henderson, and it's a lot more fun when the games are close. Xavier Hall jumping up and down to guard the inbounds pass, and a quick shot with 2 on the shot clock, misses. Good defense there by Ouachita, good court awareness as well. Lawrence Nero back out on the floor for Ouachita. He's joined by Bankston, Kane, mentioned Hall a moment ago, and Smith. I think Ouachita necessarily needs to fall in love with the 3. They've been hitting it a little bit better this week, but it is a small lineup right now, so we'll see what happens. Smith goes in hard and bowls his way through, ends up hitting Alvarez Powell. Smith a little slow to get up there, had his teammates help him. He took a hard fall. Free throws for Smith, and you just hope he's okay. 2 for 2 at the line so far for Smith. And he will continue to add to his totals. Again, 144 points away from the 1,000-point club. 6'2" senior from Conway. Great to watch over the last couple of years here for the Tigers. The last player to reach the 1,000-point club was just last year, in fact, for Ouachita. Malin Martin able to eclipse that 4-digit mark right towards the end of the season, in fact. Coach Dennis Nutt in his 10 years has had 4 1,000-point scorers in the last decade that have played their entire career for him, or at least a part of their career. Not all of them played their entire career. The one that comes to mind is Austin Mitchell. Shot clock violation for UAM. They do not get that shot away in time, and good defense from the Tigers. Gave me 30 seconds to talk about the 1,000-point club. A chance to tie or take the lead for Ouachita, a spot that they were in for much of the first 10 minutes of the opening half. The last 4.5 minutes somewhat dominated by UAM, but now the Tigers on a little bit of a run again. And with 6.5 to play, shot clock down to 10. Ouachita needs to do something. That shot will not go from Davion Bankston. The junior averaging 10.5 points a game, a transfer out of NOC Tonkawa. He's been a lot of the offense for Ouachita as he's hitting 55% of his shots per game, but they're not really falling here so far in this one for Bankston. In fact, he's 0 for 3. UAM goes back up by 4 now. Smith cut off on the baseline. Wide open, Xavier Hall dials up the 3. Got the connection that time to go through. And that's 5 for Xavier Hall, and it makes it a 1-point game. Tigers just slowly hanging around, getting back in this thing after an 11-3 UAM run midway through the first half. Down to the baseline, Howard was open, didn't take the shot. Shot clock down to 7 again. And so Monticello, I thought, was going to make me look good the first couple of possessions. They ran up and down the court. 2 very quick shots. Style we've seen them play last few years. And then now playing more the Ouachita style. There's 4 on the shot clock after a shot clock violation last time down. Long 3 won't go. And there's just been a number of times here today where UAM has ran the shot clock all the way down. Ouachita breaks the other direction. Kane has some contact, can't finish. See if UAM gets into the track meter, if they slow it down again. Gotta take that one. 2-hand slam for Lemmy Howard. And wow, Howard called for a technical foul after that. So K.D. Smith is going to come down and shoot the free throw. Just one free throw here for Smith. Well, I always say dunks are pretty, but they're only worth two. And Smith just got one of those back right there from the 15-foot line. I think Howard called for hanging on the rim, but seemed to be the case. Ouachita trails by 2. McIntyre take the lead right here. They will tie it on the two-hand slam. Oh, no, from Smith, and now he'll be called for the same thing. He kind of raised himself up just enough to be called for a technical foul for hanging on the rim. Goodness gracious. Well, that's 12 for K.D. Smith, 2 above his game average this season, so he is perhaps poised for a big game. And just like that, Monticello gets one of those back. DeJuan Jones, watch out here now. He averages 13.5 a game, 51 total assists, and he has been awfully quiet. He averages 35 minutes a game. That was his first point. You don't want him to get on track. But when they say 2 for 1, that's not what they mean. It's supposed to be 2 possessions for 1 possession for the other team, not 2 points for 1 point. That's what we've had the last couple of times down. Good defense that time from Stanley as Howard can't finish. Kane the rebound. Now a basket will put Ouachita back up on top. Can they do it? No, it won't go down for Xavier Hall. Stanley, an offensive board. His putback doesn't go, and UAM will keep the lead. They've had the lead for the last 7 minutes of this game. No look pass there inside, taken away. It looked as if Howard, if he would have caught it, could have had an easy 2. Nero instead for Ouachita to the rim, and he can't finish. Goodness. Now all of a sudden nobody hitting except for the dunks. And this time a layup goes for UAM. Kendall Frey has 9. 3-point UAM advantage. Inside 4 to play in the first half. Back and forth contest between Ouachita and UAM. Taken away near half court. Watch out. We have liftoff and a 2-hand dunk for Lemmy Howard and a timeout. I mentioned it as a cause for concern a little bit earlier. Those essentially what amounts to what would be a pick 6 in the NFL, a takeaway right near half court. We got a full timeout. We'll take it. 5-point UAM lead with 3:41 to go in the first half. Back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. .341 to go until halftime. 28-33. Monticello with a 5-point advantage. And we will have returning to the floor for Ouachita, DJ Kane, Matt Stanley, K.D. Smith, Lawrence Nero, and Davion Bankston. Didn't get that shot clock started in time. Officials will stop play. Take a couple of seconds off there. Back at it. So the number of times Monticello has got their hands in the passing lane out in front of the three-point line, a bit disturbing. Ouachita needs to protect the basketball a little bit better. Smith all the way into the paint from 6 feet. K.D. Smith hits. Told you on his dunk a little while ago, looked like he was poised for a big day. And that's 14 now for K.D. Smith. Three on its way from UAM, and that one will not go from Kendall Frey. Smith, a perfect 4 of 4 from the floor and 5 of 5 at the free throw line. I think I'd get the ball back to him. He's going to take the three, and it's good. How about that? Inside to match Stanley, right back out to KD Smith as the double team came down on him, left him just enough room to take the shot. And KD Smith, 17 first half points. We're tied at 33. Ouachita's moved into a zone defense. That can lead to some offensive rebound second chances for UAM if you don't block somebody out. But a good block out that time underneath by Stanley. Great defensive possession for Ouachita. Smith open again, drives in, contact, and they'll call an offensive foul. He even made that little finger roll with the contact, so Smith just can't miss right now, but won't get credit for that one. Official stats showing Smith at 15 points. We will check that. I've got him with 17. Okay, now we're going 16 for Smith. So we'll check that out at halftime. Let's say 16 for now. Tied at 33, our score with 2 minutes to play in the first half. See what UAM decides to do in this 2-3 zone look for Ouachita. They're not taking as many three-point attempts as I thought they might here in the first half. At the shot clock buzzer again, Daniels cannot hit. There's an offensive rebound. So kind of what we were talking about with that zone defense. Now a three that is good from deep in the corner. A second opportunity results in 3 for UAM. And they go to Kendall Frey, who has 12 for Frey. And UAM back up by 3. Got to turn and find somebody to box out when you're in that zone defense. Hard drive and contact for DJ Kane, and an and one opportunity coming his way. McDuffie called for the foul, his first. Kane, after 2 3-pointers to start the game, a little bit quiet, but a big, strong play there in 15 minutes of action. Not only does Kane have 8 points, he's got 5 boards. That makes 9 for Kane, and just like that, we're tied again, 36 all. So Monticello gets the 3-point basket. Ouachita gets the 3-point play the old-fashioned way. And nearing 1 minute to play in the half. A couple of big possessions here to see who's going to go to the break with the lead. Traveling violation on the 3-point line by DeJuan Jones. He's not exactly excited about the call, doesn't believe it. Still shaking his head down the court, in fact. So you got a couple of hot hands here with Kane and Smith. Where will they go for offense? Smith has it. He's going to spot up on a 3 again and finally misses. In 4 field goal attempts and 5 free throws, that was Smith's first miss, including a 3-point make earlier. Perhaps the final possession for UAM. Ouachita should get the ball one more time. And where's that? It's out of bounds. UAM basketball. Poked free by Stanley. UAM was content to let it go out of bounds. Stanley was trying to make a play on it. Put the shot clock at 12. 28 on game clock, difference of 16. Plenty of time for UAM. Double team down in the corner. UAM swings it the other way, 3 on its way, halfway down and out. Stanley the rebound. 18 seconds left in the first half. They can turn the shot clock off, and Ouachita can hold for the final shot of the first half. Nero running the offense near half court, down to 7. Need to make a move quick, down to 4. Nero still dribbling, gives to Kane with 1. Kane will launch at the buzzer. He hits the shot. DJ Kane hits the 3-point basket at the buzzer to give Ouachita a 3-point halftime lead. Coach Tolan arguing with the officials at halftime as we look at it again. Off in time and buried the three. Strong play underneath the rim for Kane and a bigger play out top at the buzzer. That'll bring us to halftime. Coming up at half, we'll take a look at some of the scores from around the Great American Conference. We'll give you all of the first half numbers, and we'll have an interview for you as well. 39-36, Ouachita leads Monticello. We're back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
Athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experience as possible.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves. Our vision, our heart, our drive to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Welcome back to Bill Vining Arena as we are at the halftime break. DJ Kane hitting a big three before the break to make it 39-36, Ouachita leading Monticello. Michael Westbrook, and I'm joined by the athletic director of Ouachita Baptist, David Sharp. David, good to see you today. David, I got to ask you, we're finally playing basketball. It's nice to be up here, even if I'm in the rafters. I know we don't have the fans yet, but it's just nice to be able to get us back going again and doing what we do. Tell me how proud you are of everybody to make this happen. All right, with a little technical difficulty there with Coach Sharp, but we will get back to him in just a second. David Sharp, Athletic Director of Ouachita Baptist, will be with us.
Yeah.
I got you, David. I was just reading your lips. I've gotten so used to that.
I know, no, you were talking about just being able to play. And, of course, you know, our women haven't played yet. I really, really feel bad for them. But they'll be back on campus hopefully with Thursday and get into a game Saturday. But, yes, it's just been so refreshing to come back and to see all of our teams not only practicing but competing. And, you know, we've had wrestling and swimming teams competing. Our men's tennis team competed today. Women's tennis team will compete soon. And so to see our student athletes engaging not only in practice but to be able to compete and do the things they love, the coaches to coach how they coach, it's really, it's great to see.
Coach, what did you do from March to December? Because I've been asking everybody. I've done a lot of interviews around the GAC, and I just wonder what you did with all your time, because I know you're a routine guy like anybody else who's around athletics. What'd you do with your free time?
Well, I tell you what, March 13th was a big day, and I mean, we shut down. I mean, not only did we send our students home a week or two later, we wanted to bring them back after spring break, but it wasn't long that we knew we weren't going to be back. And of course, our seasons got shut down, period, in March the 13th. So, yeah, I mean, that was a big change for me. And so, you know, it's great to have a little time with my wife. And my wife and I did some things that we don't usually do in March and April. And so it was good there. And honestly, I focused on me a little bit, tried to do some things, and I started walking, and it's been refreshing for me. So, but we also were engaged as athletic directors in our conference and working on plans throughout, not only monthly. I mean, we were meeting weekly, and then you know, internally on campus as a part of our HMAT team. And so yeah, my time was occupied in a lot different way than watching a ball game or watching a meet or something like that, watching a tennis match. But that was okay the first, not okay, but that's what we did. But when it got to August and we shut down the fall, that really was different. But again, watching our student athletes, our student athletes were so resilient, Michael.
Yeah.
And they came and they worked, they practiced. Our coaches did the same thing. So that was, I have to applaud our coaches and our student athletes for how they handled the fall. And so that's kind of what we've been doing. But it's great to be back and competing.
Yep. You mentioned lots of meetings. I said the world has realized the importance of video, but we don't want to do all these video meetings. We want to get an end to that.
No, I'm a person. I like.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I love Zoom meetings compared to a conference call.
Sure.
Conference calls where you just hear a voice. That's to me, those are probably past. Zoom's going to take over on that. But I'm an in-person person.
Absolutely.
I want to see you face to face in the flesh.
Yep.
And that's how I like doing things.
Well, Coach, I know you got a busy spring. I'm glad we're going to have some baseball and softball and tennis and everything else. So get some rest when you can.
Hey, you bet, Michael. Thanks for being here. Go
All right.
Tigers.
Thank you. Coach David Sharp, Athletic Director of Ouachita Baptist. We're going to take a quick break. We'll give you the first half numbers when we come back. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
I've heard people say Ouachita.
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 Is it pronounced Ouachita?
Searching for Ouachita Baptist University.
Back in Texas, everybody pronounces it Wichita, but really, it's Ouachita.
Ouachita. Ouachita.
How would you pronounce it?
Ouachita.
Ouachita.
It's Ouachita Baptist University. Get it right.
It's Ouachita, people. It's Ouachita.
Ouachita.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
Welcome back to Bill Vining Arena at the halftime. About 6 minutes till we start the second half of play. 39-36 is our score. A three from DJ Kane at the halftime buzzer gave Ouachita a 3-point lead. Tigers led for about the first 10 minutes of the first half. Monticello owned the next 4 or 5 minutes of play to take the advantage. And then Ouachita's been back and forth with UAM over the final 6 minutes or so of the first half. Some of the numbers in one half of play. UAM 14 of 31 from the floor, 45. 34. There we go. I can talk. 14 of 34 from the floor, 45%. Ouachita 50% from the floor. And some big three-pointers from Ouachita, 8 of 13 from downtown. We mentioned that in the pregame, the importance of that. Not necessarily that Ouachita needed to be on pace to shoot 26 three-pointers, but that they needed to knock down some of the shots that they're going to get. UAM, only 2 of 11 from three-point range, and they are the number 1 three-point shooting team in the league. So you have to keep them at bay again in the second half in order to have the lead. Ouachita has out-rebounded UAM 15-13. Free throws, both sides have made 100% of their free throws. Ouachita was 8 of 8. UAM was 6 of 6. Offensive rebounds, Monticello with 2. Ouachita with only 1 offensive board in the first half, but Ouachita does have the rebounding advantage by just a couple, 15-13. Game's been tied 4 times. The lead has changed hands 6 times, so that's what we saw a lot a week ago against Harding, and it looks like we're in for a back-and-forth contest in this one here today as well. Let's look at some of the individual numbers now, starting first with Arkansas-Monticello. Haynes played just 3 minutes. He made 1 shot. Jones played 18 minutes in the first half. He scored only 1 point. That was on the technical foul free throw after K.D. Smith was called for a technical foul for hanging on the rim. So just 1 of 1 at the line for Jones, who came into the game averaging nearly 17 points a contest. Howard played 12 minutes, went 4 of 8 from the floor, scored 8 points, and also had 5 total rebounds. Daniels, in 13 minutes of first half action, scored 7 points. McDuffie played 19 minutes, and he was 1 of 2 from the floor for 2 points. Starting as well, Frey had 10 points in 16 minutes of play. Now for the Ouachita Tigers, let's look at some of these numbers. Lawrence Nero in 11 minutes of action, 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 2 points. Has not taken a shot from the floor, both of his points coming at the free throw line. K.D. Smith, 18 minutes of action, 5 of 6 from the floor. He is 2 of 3 from three-point range and 5 of 5 at the free throw line. They have 17 points for Kendarius Smith, so checking our numbers at the break, I did have that right. And for Bankston, 16 minutes of action, yet to hit from the floor. He's 0 of 3, does have 2 rebounds, no points. DJ Kane, 17 minutes of play, 4 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 4 from three-point land, and 1 of 1 at the free throw line. To go along with his 12 points, he has 5 rebounds, an efficiency rating right now of 16, behind only K.D. Smith for the most efficient player on the floor. Matt Stanley has played 11 minutes, taken just 1 shot, did not hit that, has 4 rebounds, 3 on the defensive glass, 1 offensively, and still looking to get Matt Stanley on the board. If he can score 8, 10 points, something like that, that would really bode well for Ouachita here in the second half of play. But he did get into a little bit of foul trouble, and so went out of the game with 2 fouls and only played 11 first half minutes. And Williams Dunn off the bench played 9 minutes, 0 of 1 from the floor. Xavier Hall also played 9 minutes. He was 2 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 2 from three-point range. He has 5 points to go along with 2 rebounds. Alex Scariolo played a handful of minutes, 3 in the first half. No stats to report there. And Medarius Hobson came into the game, played 6 minutes, hit a three-pointer. He's 1 of 2 from the floor for 3 points. We'll take one more break and come back with the start of the second half. It's Ouachita 39, Monticello 36. Back in a moment for the second half action. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. Welcome back to Bill Vining Arena, 39-36 our halftime score. We've got about 1 minute until they start the second half. Only one game in Arkansas today in the Great American Conference, but there are 3 games taking place in Oklahoma in Great American Conference action. Let's take a look at some of the Great American Conference scores for you. Well, we've got, again, postponed Arkansas Tech at SAU. And then also Henderson and Arkansas Tech also not playing as well. Southern Nazarene and Southwestern at the halftime break. It's 40-35, and then it'll be a 5 o'clock start for Oklahoma Baptist at East Central, and 5 o'clock for the Southeastern game as well. A few scores from the women's side. We can give you those. Southwestern defeated Southern Nazarene 91-76. And Tech beat SAU 82-75. Harding over Henderson 98-92. High-scoring game there. Southeastern defeats Northwestern 76-63. And East Central at Oklahoma Baptist 79-57. We were mentioning a little bit that February 8th will be the next home game versus Henderson on a Monday night. And we are crossing our fingers that we will have a doubleheader for you that night. That's the goal anyway. So hopefully our Ouachita women will be able to get back to play soon. We're back to play here from Bill Vining Arena, 39-36, Ouachita leading, and Monticello has the basketball first. Mentioned Monticello only giving up 63 points a game. If Ouachita could double up their 39 that they had in the first half, that would go a long way. They might even need more than that, as UAM starts the second half by draining a three-pointer. Now Ouachita's first possession. Lawrence Nero to the baseline, circles the wagons back around up top to Kane. Kane has 5 to shoot, needs some help. KD Smith, pump, pull up, and good. KD Smith hits at the shot clock buzzer, 19, as he picks up where he left off in the first half. Got a tie ball near half court. Possession arrow goes to Ouachita as UAM started the second half with the basketball, so extra possession there for the Tigers. Well, it is awfully quiet here inside the arena without the fans, but we do have the defense chant from UAM. And the league announced this week that beginning on Monday, each player will be allowed to have 4 guests in attendance. Athletic Director Coach Sharp wanted us to mention that. Foul on UAM, first foul of the second half, goes against Kyler Haynes, the transfer from Arkansas Tech. Right now, it's pretty obvious that the offense is going through Kane and Smith, but we've seen Davion Bankston, who can get hot pretty quick. Turnover, and that's going to be a slam dunk for Lemmy Howard. Well, Howard can rock the rim. Saw some highlights of him on Twitter this week, including a big dunk that he had on a breakaway against Henderson earlier this week. Nero, bounce pass underneath to Smith. He'll go up strong. The basket rolls in, plus the foul. KD Smith playing like a man out there right now. 21 points. Foul on Howard, his second. Smith must have read the game notes. He was 144 away from 1,000-point club. Misses the free throw, though. That's a really rare miss at the free throw line. Ball loose in the lane. That's picked up by Smith. And 4 on 5 for a moment as Nero comes across the half-court line. Offensive foul called on Stanley. So Matt Stanley will stay in the game momentarily. 3 fouls now. let him play through this for a moment. And now Coach Bailey, the assistant coach, who has been with Coach Nutt for 3 years, got up off the bench but didn't say anything to anybody, so they'll leave Stanley in. Open shooter, 3 won't go, and an offensive rebound by Miles Daniels. Crossover dribble into the paint for Jones. Up with the right hand, rebound Smith. Smith might go for a double-double here today, and Stanley will get the layup off of the assist from K.D. Smith. So Matt Stanley with his first 2 points. It was worth leaving him in there with those 3 fouls. Got to play defense on Howard, though, which is a pretty tough task. Howard's going to straighten up, and they're going to call a blocking foul on Stanley. My goodness. The Ouachita players were up off the bench. Coach Bailey was as well. Coach Nutt out near half court. He wanted an elbow call. And so Stanley has 4 fouls now and will have to come out of the game. Howard just immediately turned, straightened up to the basket, barreled over Stanley. I'd say I don't necessarily agree with that one. So the replacement for Matt Stanley is Medeiros Hobson. And now we're going to have another foul underneath, and that's Bankston just coming over trying to do something, or else Warren would have had an easy 2. 2 fouls on Bankston. You can't let those fouls add up this quickly for Ouachita. 3 already in just a little over 3 minutes of play. Meanwhile, Monticello has committed 2 fouls. Max Warren is at the line. Takes his time, and it will not go. Warren 17 of 23 at the line entering this contest. Well, you only get 10 seconds at the line. Max Warren utilized almost all of it there. UAM, we mentioned the best scoring defense, best free throw shooting team, best three-point shooting team. It was a tall task today for Ouachita, but they are not only in this thing, they are leading, but a traveling violation has just been called, and they're not allowing any sort of stutter step there. Sometimes you get away with that. You kind of make that jump as you catch the basketball, move the feet, and then go. But it does seem in the couple of games we've seen here at Bill Vining Arena this year, they're not really letting that go at all. Another one right at the rim for Denzel McDuffie. And so McDuffie gets the 2. Hobson hit a 3 earlier. He'll give way to Smith. Floats it up with one hand into traffic. Offensive rebound, a fresh shot clock for Ouachita. Back to Bankston, drives the edge of the baseline, leaves it for K.D. Smith, lift off. 23 for K.D. Smith. 47-44 lead for Ouachita brings us to the first media timeout. 15:52 to play in the second half. Ouachita by 3. Back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
Well, it's always nice when the player to watch is someone worth watching during the game. K.D. Smith was our player to watch for the Tigers, and he has provided here today. 23 points, couple of dunks, hitting his free throws, making the three-point shots. He's doing it all, and Ouachita has a 47-44 lead. 23 points, 2 rebounds, 5 of 6 at the line in 4 games so far this year. This has been his best one, that's for sure. And Ouachita by 3. So Smith will come back to the floor along with DJ Kane. He's going to be joined by Medeiros Hobson, Lawrence Nero, and Davion Bankston. There's Coach Nutt having a conversation with the 2 of the officials about that call that was that went against Matt Stanley for his 4th foul. Wanted a call of an elbow being thrown towards Stanley's face there, but just incidental contact, the way the officials ruled that one, and they gave the foul on Stanley. We mentioned perhaps UAM a little bit tired, 3 games in a week, but you know, Ouachita had to do it too, so that's what it's going to be like here in the GAC for a lot of weeks where you're having to play 3 in 1 week, but you'll take that over not getting to play at all, that's for sure. 1-point game. Up underneath there, Smith cannot hold on to the rebound. Mentioning Smith a minute ago, he's starting to, thought he had more than 2 rebounds, but that's what they've got him at, and it just seemed like he was making more plays than that. He's also got 2 steals. Miles Daniels with that last basket has 9. Frey got the assist, his 2nd, and UAM has a chance to take the lead here. As Ouachita led by 3 at the break, and it will stay with UAM. Frey able to come in, knock it away from Kane. Marvin Williams Dunn is in for Ouachita. Nero will take a seat. These 2 teams are 10-10 against each other in the last 20 meetings. That's just about every GAC matchup. Into the corner, no travel call there, and the shot is going to rattle down and in for Miles Daniels, and then he's called for a technical foul, I believe. A double foul is the call. Okay. So DJ Kane called for a foul, his first. Daniels called for a foul, his 2nd. A little bit of contact between the 2 after that shot there. The basket did count. UAM has a lead with 14-18 to play in this second half. Ouachita needs to weather the storm, get a couple of baskets to fall. They'll go back to KD Smith. Got away with a travel in the lane. Now out Bankston. 3. Missed. Followed his shot and puts it back in on a dunk. And nobody knows better than the shooter on where that ball is going to go. And a good job by Davion Bankston to get his first 2 points on a slam dunk. And Ouachita regains the advantage by 1. Inside 14 to play in the second half as we seesaw back and forth. Around the perimeter to Jones. Bankston steps up on a screen to guard. Now Jones spinning through the lane, up and in for DeJuan Jones. Nice move. UAM on top. Bankston leaves it for, no, he'll keep it. To Kane. 3 offline. Rebound UAM McDuffie. Very quick possession for Ouachita. Great crossover dribble there by Jones. He keeps it. Down underneath the basket, finds the open shooter, and that is good. It's Kendall Frey again. Frey can absolutely hit from downtown. He was 8 of 15 coming into the game, 53%. Not just a whole lot of attempts. Wasn't quite on my radar for 3-point shots, but he sure is hitting them here in this one, and we've got an offensive foul. He has not been afraid to shoot. 3 of 9 from 3-point range for Frey. Alex Scariolo is back in. KD Smith will receive a short breather, I would imagine, here. We're about 40 seconds till that 12-minute mark. Depending on how much play goes on, you might have the media timeout, and then Smith will probably be right back in. One of those situations where you kind of want an early media timeout so he doesn't have to be on the bench too long. Of course, you can bring him in whenever you want, but Frey on the back door gets the easy layup. He is 17. But either way, you're going to need Smith the last 10 minutes or so of this one. To the baseline, ball goes to Xavier Hall. Turnaround baseline jumper from 16, no good. And here comes DeJuan Jones on the break. Jones out to Powell, and Alvarez Powell, who has not been in the game much, makes a big three there, and we've got a timeout with 12:02 to play. This will be a full timeout here. And let's keep it right here and get our entire crew mentioned on this one. It's not the media timeout. 12:02 to go, and boy, I had to had to look up there the score, see if that was right. 58-49. UAM is on a bit of a run here. Our technical director today, Noah Grimes. Graphics, Matthew Branch. Our audio engineer is Wyatt Ashlock. Replay, Chris McQuistion. Cameras, Aaron Jordan, Ryan Perdue, and Tyler Fay. And our faculty support today from Dr. David Osman and Chris Babb from the Rogers Department of Communications. Our team here today on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. And when I ask people, what did you do during all of the COVID shutdown? We know what Chris Babb did. He was busy getting a new production trailer ready and just upping the game of the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. We're on YouTube this year, a new platform. We thank you for being with us. And what a year to have some upgrades and to have some stability of a good crew, because so much of the action happening without fans. Just happy we have some action. Of course, missing the entire fall schedule. Volleyball was able to get pushed back into the new year. So Coach Allison Frizzell-Kaiser, they had their first match against Tech earlier in the week, and that's going to be exciting. There's also been, swimming and tennis, softball, baseball. I don't know if I missed anything there. We're back to play. Inside 12 to go now. 58-49. Ouachita needs some points. They need them in a hurry. Of course, men's and women's soccer as well. We got soccer tomorrow. Turnover on the cross-court pass. A very dangerous pass. And Monticello, thought they were going to shoot the three there by McDuffie. Elected not to. Drive into the paint, no good. Kane the rebound, out in front, just too far out in front of Hobson. Ball batted around a little bit, saved inbounds by Scariolo, but it's going to work to UAM's advantage. And an offensive foul is the call on Kendall Frey. Offensive foul gives it back to Ouachita. And now our media timeout, so we will take this one. 11:22 to go. Monticello 58, Ouachita 49. Back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. It's a 10-0 run from Arkansas-Monticello in the last 2 minutes and 34 seconds of play. Davion Bankston had a dunk at 13:56 remaining to put Ouachita on top, 49-48. and since then, 10 straight from the Weevils. Marvin Williams-Dunn runs the offense for Ouachita. He's joined by Kane, and also Hobson is out there. That one won't go. Scariola and Hall also on the floor. So they're going to leave K.D. Smith on the bench through the media timeout. And we'll see how much longer that goes. He's on the sidelines with a towel around his shoulders right now. Denzel McDuffie guarded by Williams-Dunn. And we've got a hand check foul up top on Ouachita's Williams-Dunn, his first personal foul. So there's K.D. Smith, so it wasn't on the bench much longer. You mentioned those numbers from Ouachita at halftime as far as three-point shooting. They're now 7 of 15 from three-point range. Miles Daniels connects from long range again. And UAM starting to blast away from three-point range. They've hit 3 here in this second half. Ouachita has taken the fewest three-point attempts in the league at 103. Now, they've only played 5 games, but to put that in perspective, as Scariola's shot won't go, an offensive rebound by Smith. Another 3 dialed up this time, and it will go from Hobson, his second three-pointer of the game. To put that number into perspective for Ouachita, 103 team three-pointers. Southwestern Oklahoma State out in Weatherford, 253 three-point attempts. I think out there the wind just blows it to the rim wherever they're at. 3 up top won't go from Daniels. Again, Southwestern's played 8 games, only 5 for Ouachita. Tigers on the break. Contact comes, and Marvin Williams-Dunn will go to the free throw line. Went for the pump fake to get the defender in the air. Three on McDuffie. Dunn can't hit the first one. 4 of 6 from the free throw line this season for Williams-Dunn. Hobson, after hitting that 3, on the bench now. And 1 of 2 at the line for Williams-Dunn. And a breakaway dunk for Ouachita. Looked down for just a second, nearly missed it. Davion Bankston with the takeaway and the 2. We've seen more dunks in this game in quite some time, and Coach Tolan wants to take a timeout for UAM. And so a 10-0 run from UAM has been countered by Ouachita on a bit of a push here. They still trail by 6. We're back in a moment. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. Six-3 push here by Ouachita in the last 2 minutes of play. UAM back with the basketball. Coach taking a timeout there. Quick timeout. And now we got a foul underneath. At the 6th or 7th. That's the 7th foul on Ouachita. So 1-1 the rest of the way over the final 9:13 of this one. Next one. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yep, that's 7. Yep. Everybody else thought maybe it was the next one, but that was the 7th team foul. Put the foul on Hall, his first. 1-1 situation here for McDuffie, and it won't go. Smith with the board. K.D. Smith, an efficiency rating of 28. He's got 23 points on 8 of 10 shooting, 5 of 6 at the line, and 2 of 3 from three-point range. Scariola steps through, basket goes, and one. Alex Scariolo with the basket. Scariolo's dad, an assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors. Went down a bit of a rabbit trail earlier today researching Scariolo. Just wondered how a young man from Manhattan College ended up with us. Got a little piece of the story there. And Scariolo's mom, a pretty legendary European basketball player as well. 3-point game again. It has been basically 1 or 2 possessions this entire game, really. A lot of extra ball movement from UAM with 5 on the shot clock. An additional pass inside, and now an and one chance is coming the other way. Scariola on the wrong end of this one as he picks up the foul. Denzel McDuffie gets the basket. We're down to 8:30 to play in the second half, 5-point game. Lemmy Howard checks out of the game for UAM. Well, the game started off with a couple of threes from DJ Kane. He's got 12 points. Stanley has been in foul trouble. He's on the bench with 4. K.D. Smith has 23 points. There's a few of the highlights for Ouachita. And they trail by 6 right now. They need one more offensive player to really step up. That one stripped away. We're going to have a foul as DeJuan Jones is heading to the line for 2. He was trying to draw the contact and get the three-point play. Didn't happen. Marvin Williams-Dunn picks up his second foul. 9th team foul on Ouachita. The next one sends UAM to the line for 2 no matter what. With still a lot of action to be played. Got to go back to those early fouls at the start of the second half, and I had said, got to be careful if you're Ouachita. They had 3 fouls in the first 3 minutes. So Matt Stanley with his 4 fouls is going to come back in. Xavier Hall will take a seat. I like this move right here. See if you can get the big man involved for a couple of minutes before a media timeout, perhaps. Jones with 6 points. And with that clock rolling, less than 8 to play, Smith off the pass from Stanley, extra pass, but he's going to be called for an offensive foul. K.D. Smith called for the charge. And we have the media timeout. 2 fouls on Smith. And it's a double bonus situation the rest of the way, but not on an offensive foul, so UAM will have it when we come back. 7:47 to play, 65-58. Monticello leads. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. Here at Bill Vining Arena, Michael Westbrook with you. There's Coach Dennis Nutt in his 10th season. Maybe working the referee just a little bit there. 65-58 our score. Monticello with the lead. Couple of scores from around the conference. Oklahoma Baptist underway against East Central. Oklahoma Baptist leads 17-13. And Southeastern with a lead on Northwestern 23-11. Southern Nazarene and Southwestern, 7 minutes to go in the second half, and Southern Nazarene has a 64-58 lead. You don't want to say those games in Oklahoma are less important by any means, but it has such a different feel to it this year. Eastern and Western Division, you're not playing anybody from the other division until postseason conference tournament action, but even then you got to win out against all the teams in Arkansas, and then the plan is to have a conference championship game between the two divisions with the top seed hosting. So still a month away from that possibility, but a plan is in place on paper and publicized, so we hope it happens. Ouachita needs a basket here. They'll go to Stanley. Stanley, can he get it to go? He does. 4 points for Matt Stanley. Quick basket there for the Tigers. And they'll bring some pressure in the backcourt now, trailing by 5. 7 minutes to go. The numbers in this game, 24 of 47 from Monticello, 51% from the floor. Ouachita 52.5% from the floor, and the Tigers have made 8 of 16 from downtown. Quick three here from UAM. Doesn't go by Alvarez Powell. He hit one in here in the second half. And so UAM falls below 30% from three-point range. Smith can't hit. Monticello on the break. It's going to be a three-point attempt from Daniels. Short. Offensive rebound, and UAM can start over. Bankston up top, guarding. Now Warren has it. Warren had a couple of early hook shots that went in this game and then kind of been quiet since. Foul on Marvin Williams done, and as we said before the break, that's a double bonus situation, putting UAM at the line for 2 the rest of the way with exactly 6 minutes to play. McDuffie. One more coming his way. Ouachita's out-rebounded UAM 23-21, very close there. Want to know how close this one's been? The lead has changed hands 5 times, and the score's been tied 7 times. Got both of them to go. But even as close as it's been, the last 8 minutes or so has really favored the Weevils. Ouachita went up 49-48 with 14 minutes to play on a Bankston dunk. Then a 10-0 run from UAM, and since then UAM has been able to hold on to a 1-2 possession lead. And they'll be able to hold on to it for another 20 seconds or so as they make a stop. Circling the baseline is Jones, kicks it back out, and UAM works it around the three-point perimeter. Frey back out to Jones. Clock becoming a little bit of a factor. Still a lot of time, nearing 5 to play. Spot-up jumper inside the three-point line. Denzel McDuffie connects, and he's into double figures. We told you UAM came into the game with 4 players in double figures. They've got 3 there right now. Davion Bankston been a bit quiet in this one. Scariolo leaves for Stanley. Basket will not count. It was a blocking foul first. And it's the 7th team foul on UAM, which will send Alex Scariolo to the line for a 1-and-1. Foul goes against Lemmy Howard, his 3rd personal foul. Senior Lawrence Nero back in the game. Williams Dunn will take a seat. Scariolo can't get it to go. Offensive rebound. Ouachita will get a full possession out of the deal. And got to wipe up some sweat underneath the goal. So they'll stop play. Also allows DJ Kane to come back into the game. Scariolo goes out. In some ways that works to Ouachita's advantage, stopping play there. gets Kane in a little bit earlier. Ouachita searching for a big basket here. Trailing by 9. We got a hand check foul. Miles Daniels, 4 on him now. And free throw up and in for Nero. Making sure that score is right, doing some numbers here. McDuffie hit a jumper to make it 66-60. Well, free throw's good there. So 69-62. For some reason I thought maybe it was 66-62. I missed a basket. At the free throw line, falling down is Warren, and a scramble for the loose ball, and they'll call a jump ball. UAM has the possession arrow. So the ball stays with UAM. They've got 4 seconds to shoot. And we're going to wipe up some sweat at this end of the court now. Four seconds to shoot for UAM. Leading by 7, 69-62. I went back and checked the YouTube live stream to check the score. How about that? I like the ability to do that. So we do have it right. And now, well, that took 2 seconds off the shot clock. That ball being inbounded and knocked free. So now just 2 seconds for UAM to shoot. It has to happen quick. And looking for Frey. Will he get the shot off in time? No, he did not. He went for the finger roll. Had just 2 seconds to get to the rim. And that ball was clearly in his hands at the shot clock buzzer. So a stop for Ouachita. And one thing about the Tigers over the last couple of years, it's that they really come to life in the last 4 to 5 minutes of a game. On the interior to Stanley, down by 7. He'll take it himself, steps underneath the defender, and up with the left hand and in. Matt Stanley with the 2 points there. And those are big, big points for Ouachita, making it a 5-point game inside 4 to play. And wow, now Stanley's going to be called. No, Davion Bankston. Okay, foul on Bankston. Got my 3 and 2 confused there. And we got the final media timeout here of the second half. Free throws coming up for UAM when we return. They lead by 5 against your Ouachita Tigers. This is the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Coming down to the wire here, 3:39 remaining. You see Coach Nutt huddled up with his team. Stanley with a layup a moment ago, and then a foul at the other end. And so UAM heading to the free throw line when play resumes. 69-64, Monticello has the lead. And some numbers to go over. At halftime, it was 39-36. Ouachita had the lead. DJ Kane hit a 3 at the buzzer, but Monticello has outscored Ouachita here in this second half. Individually for UAM, they are led by Daniels with 14, Howard with 13, 11 from McDuffie, and 10 from Frey. I think Frey has more than that. Free throw up and in for McDuffie. And that makes it 71-64. So Ouachita's going to need some of that three-point shooting that they had a little bit earlier in the game. They were 8 of 16 at one point from three-point range. I believe our live stats have gone down here, at least on my computer, so apologize to anybody if that's happened to you. We've got 3:25 to go, 71-64. Ouachita, they don't necessarily need a three here, but you got to start stringing some baskets together, and you got to do it quick. Shot clock's down to 8. Smith at the free throw line, tipped out of bounds. It will stay with Ouachita, 5 to shoot. Now you have to have some action in a hurry. Inbounds to Stanley. Now high pass to Smith, has to shoot, toe on the line, 2 won't go. Offensive rebound, Stanley kept it alive, Bankston ends up with it. K.D. Smith, strong game today, 23, out to Kane, in the lane, down to Stanley, underneath. Stanley spins, pumps, blocked, and UAM has it. UAM takes over inside 3 to play in a 7-point lead. Strong 8 or 9 minutes here down the stretch for UAM. All started actually, around the 14-minute mark, so they've put together some good basketball here lately. Bankston takes the basketball away. Up the floor to Nero. In the paint. Blocking foul called. And that'll go against DeJuan Jones. 1-and-1 situation on the 9th team foul against UAM. Nero to the line. Entered the day 3 of 3. From the free throw line. A little bit of a delay, wiping up the sweat underneath the basket again. And Nero is 5 of 5 at the line in this game. He's got 1 more coming his way. Top 2 free throw shooting teams in the league here today, and Nero cannot get that one, but an offensive rebound for Kane. He's fouled. He'll go to the line now. You have a chance to get points with the clock stopped. He can make both. That'd be 3 points on this possession. And it's a 2-shot situation here. One more for Kane. Well, an emphatic rebound there by UAM's DeJuan Jones, but he had to just hand it back over to the ref. Junior out of Round Rock. 1 of 2. Ouachita will press. Nearing 2 minutes remaining, a 5-point contest. And UAM into the front court now. DeJuan Jones being cautious with the basketball for UAM. Smith guarding him. Jones gives it up. And tried to shovel a pass inside was McDuffie looking for Howard, knocked out of bounds. 11 to shoot for the Weevils. Plenty of time as they'll inbound underneath the goal. 2:04 remaining. Jones back near half court. Jones goes opposite of the screen, jump stop in the lane, and short arm the very close shot. Nero the rebound. Big possession here for the Tigers as we head inside 2 minutes to play in the second half. Stanley looks to work underneath, kicks it into the corner to Kane. Kane drives, stutters a bit, now out. Nero's 3 won't go, and UAM ends up with it, and we'll go to 1:30 remaining with the clock rolling here in the second half. 5-point UAM lead. Jones guarded by Nero. High screen. Jones waves off his teammate. Now back at him for the screen with 10 to shoot. Skip pass into the corner. 3 from UAM. Oh, my goodness. Kendall Frey hits a huge, huge shot. 1 minute to go. Don't want to say that's going to do it just yet, but Ouachita's got to have something. Stanley deep in the corner. His 3 doesn't go. Bankston reaches over his defender to get the rebound. His putback won't go. 3 chances at the rim for Ouachita. Basket good for Lawrence Nero with a free throw coming his way. Still a 6-point Monticello lead. Foul was called on Howard, his 4th. Nero can't hit at the line, and we're down to 45 seconds to go. Got a foul here in the next 4 or 5 seconds. Well, there's a 16-second difference between the game and the shot clock, and you got a foul. That took 12 seconds off the clock. Second foul on Kane. DeJuan Jones to the line. Jones 48 of 58 at the free throw line. He gets there a lot. 83%. 75-68. 34.6 to play. And so he gets back to 2. Ouachita got a little bit earlier. Now it's just kind of desperation. Can Smith hit the 3? No, it won't go. UAM has it in a foul with 24 and a half. And it's an 8-point Monticello lead. It could go up to double digits all of a sudden if these free throws go. Medarius Hobson is back in. Got that one to go. Big day today for Frey, the junior from Los Angeles, California. Well, Monticello entered this game with a 6-2 overall record and a 5-2 conference mark. There is no SAU game today. They were tied with SAU for first place in the GAC. And again, with the teams not playing the same number of games, it's going to go to a winning percentage situation. And so in about 24 seconds, if a miracle doesn't happen, Monticello will be the number 1 team in the Great American Conference Eastern Division, at least for now. They lead 78-68. And 30-second timeout from Ouachita, just trying to put something together here. Find some sort of rhythm in the final 24 seconds. Looking ahead for the Ouachita Tigers. February 4th at Southern Arkansas. February 6th at Harding. Slam dunk basket for K.D. Smith to get him 2 more. He's got 25, and we got a timeout again from the Ouachita Tigers. And this one is going to be a full timeout. We'll take it real quick here. 78-70. Monticello leads. Back in a moment. It's the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.
Athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
78-70, Arkansas-Monticello leads Ouachita. Both teams in the double bonus here. And Ouachita just got a basket a moment ago, and so they'll have to come up with a steal and some points quickly. We were saying at Southern Arkansas on the 4th, it'll be the third trip for Ouachita down to Magnolia. And then after that, it'll be at Harding on the 6th. We're back at home February 8th against Henderson and February the 11th against Arkansas Tech. 5 more home games, believe it or not, after this one. Denzel McDuffie will inbound. He can run the baseline, and he does. We've got a quick foul on Frey. Second foul on Hobson. First one won't go for Frey. He entered the game just 6 of 7 at the free throw line. Powell is going to go out of the game. Lemmy Howard is in, so another miss here and a really quick basket. It could get interesting, but it would still be pretty tough. So he makes that one, and it goes to a 9-point game. Got to have a 3 here now. 2 doesn't do you much good. And Kane with his feet on the line is fouled, and he's behind the line, so he's going to get 3. 3 shots here. And Denzel McDuffie has just fouled out of the game. Kane 4 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 6 from three-point range, and he's now 3 of 4 at the free throw line. Get all 3 here, make it a 6-point game. He's 2 for 2 so far. Only 11 seconds remaining. And it is a perfect 3 for 3 for DJ Kane, so that helps. .11 seconds left and just about 0.6 of a second off the clock there before a foul, sending Alvarez Powell to the line. Arkansas-Monticello will take on Harding back in Monticello on the 4th, and they will take on Arkansas Tech also in Monticello for their next 2 games, February 4th and 6th, next Thursday and Saturday. Free throw from Powell, no good. So Ouachita making some ground here, but still down by 6, covering some ground. That's a 1 of 2 at the line there for Powell. Inbounds goes to Kane, down to 7 seconds left. He will step back. He's fouled again, shooting a 3. Kane, a chance to add to his point total with 4.6 to play. Just a little bit too late, however, for Ouachita on this one. They've been outscored by 10 here in this second half. Kane keeps knocking them down at the free throw line to add to his points. Kane, another one goes, and he's got one more coming his way, averaging 11 points a game. I've got Kane with 18 in this one. And that one's up and in as well. So he goes 6 of 6 down the stretch there at the free throw line, and it's a 4-point game with now, clock, too much of the clock ran off there. They got it down to 1.7 now, and so it should have been about 4. At least at 3 seconds. We'll see. So the clock was at 4.6 on the Kane free throws. Even if it was a second, that'd be 3.6. But there we go. Well, 3 minutes. So we got 3 minutes on the clock now. 3.06. A little delay here. UAM up 4. Clock straightened out. Look back at that. Yeah, about, say it's got to be at about 4, really. Put it at 4 seconds and call it even. Of all the times for a for a delay, you hate that. Now we got it down to 36. Can we run it? Can we run the clock? KD Smith, he's done everything else today. He's going to come over the scores table, see if he can help. All right, 3.6 to play. Monticello 80. Ouachita 76. And a free throw here from Lemmy Howard upcoming. And he misses. This one's going to get pretty close after all. Oh, goodness. Comical down the stretch here. Comedy of delays. All the timeouts, the scoreboard. Now a full timeout from Monticello with 3.6 seconds. We'll just stay right here. We can tell some jokes. I don't know if anybody want to hear that. Let's thank our crew one more time. It's been a fun afternoon here on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. And fortunately, it looks as if Ouachita's going to come up on the short end, down by 2 possessions still. So if it was a 1-possession game, we might be talking, but it doesn't seem that way. Our technical director, Noah Grimes, graphics, Matthew Branch. Matthew did quite a bit of work leading up to this one for the pregame graphics as well. Audio engineer, Wyatt Ashlock. Replay is Chris McQuistion. Cameras, Aaron Jordan and Ryan Perdue and Tyler Fay. Faculty support from Dr. David Osman and Chris Babb of the Rogers Department of Communications. I'm Michael Westbrook. What an upgrade for Ouachita in the last couple of years here on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. Got the fancy production truck, and even if it wasn't the year of the COVID, I'd say they're too big time for me. They're all down off in their own little area outside of the gymnasium now. But I like my perch up here at the top of the bleachers. I wish the band was here instead of me, but not the case this year. So, okay, 3.6 to play. "30-minute ending of the last minute and a half here. Free throw goes. It's a 5-point game. Ouachita can get one more shot and maybe end this as a 1-possession game perhaps. Kane, half court. Kane, 3-point line. It counts. It's good for DJ Kane to make it a 2-point game. My goodness. All that ends up being a 2-point game when Monticello led by 10 with what, about a minute and a half to go, maybe a little less even. Let's take a look back at the play-by-play real quick here. We are going to be joined by Coach Dennis Nutt after he goes, makes a brief stop into the locker room, and so we'll get the microphone turned on for him and everything and have that ready. But let's just look back at a little bit of this. It was an 8-point game with 1:11 to play, and so Ouachita is able to get the thing to within 2. They're outscored by 5 in the second half, and they dropped the game 81-79. Kyle Tolan, his 7th season at UAM, has his team with a 7-2 mark. They are all alone in first place in the GAC Eastern Division. Still tough for me to say. We've gone all these years without divisions. They are 6-2. They are 4-0 at home, and they go above 500 on the road as well to 3-2 on the road. Meanwhile, Ouachita drops to 1-5, 1-4 in conference play, and they are 1-1 at home, 0-4 on the road. We'll look over some of the final stats. We'll talk to Coach Nutt and wrap this one up on a Saturday evening. 27 of 53 for Monticello from the floor, 51% shooting. They go 7 of 21 from three-point range. And at the free throw line, well, they got there 26 times, and they made 20 of them. In fact, Ouachita got there for the same amount of times and the same number of makes. 25 of 51 from the floor for Ouachita, good for 49%, and 9 of 21 from three-point range. But remember, at one point they were 8 of 16 from three-point range, so they make just one of their last 5. And now we've got Coach Nutt joining us, and COVID protocols and all. We're going to keep him a good distance from us, so he'll put his earbuds in and be able to hear us momentarily. Let's give you those final numbers. Ouachita 28 rebounds, UAM 26 rebounds. And it was a close one for the most part. Came down to the end here. Coach Dennis Nutt now joining us. 81-79 the final. UAM with the victory over Ouachita. Well, Coach, it is good to visit with you. Wish it could have gone the other way by a couple more points. Your final thoughts on this one?
Well, too many mistakes defensively. Just kind of thinking about it right now, they're a good team. I give them credit. They executed their sets better than we did. We just had too many breakdowns. Gave up too many layups at the end, and it's hard to beat a good team coming back uphill. We dug ourselves a big hole, and got to learn from it. Got to learn and move on, and hopefully next time we'll learn and get better.
We saw some offense today. K.D. Smith, his best game of the year, 25 points on a really good shooting day, 9 of 14 in 36 minutes. I know you're proud of him.
Yeah, I thought he played well. The last couple games, I thought KD played really well. Did some good things for us, scored in traffic. But we got to give him some help. We all got to piece it together a little better. I didn't think offensive rebounds is good enough for us. We got to get a few more than that. But we got a little time. I'm glad we don't have a Monday night game.
Yeah.
We need a little work. We've had some guys out, and I think Leon will be back on Monday to help us. And we just got to keep working.
Okay. All right. I know you've had some time to kind of maybe figure out the rotation as well. So we look forward to next week. And when we come back at home on February 8th. Thanks, Coach Nutt.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, a couple of other final numbers for you before we wrap it up here. Let's go through a few points. And told you this one was pretty close. Game was tied 7 times each. Tied 7 times. Lead changed hands 3 times. So it was kind of one of these games where you felt like Ouachita had a chance to really close it out and overcome and win, but within a possession or two, just every so often, and just could not quite make it happen. I think the real trouble spot came with about 14 minutes to go until about 6 minutes to go in the second half, and that's when Monticello put together a 10-0 run over about a 2.5-minute stretch, and then the next 8 or 9 minutes they just maintained the lead, and Ouachita just never really could get back out in front. So I do want to mention a couple other individual players for Ouachita because while K.D. Smith does need some help, he did get a little bit today. DJ Kane had a good game, 22 points, 8 of 9 at the free throw line, 5 of 11 from the floor, 7 points from Lawrence Nero, 4 from Bankston, 6 from Matt Stanley, 1 point from Williams Dunn, 5 from Xavier Hall, 3 from Alex Scariolo, and Medarius Hobson had 6. And so that is going to do it for our broadcast. 81-79 the final. Some window dressing points there at the end to make it really close. Monticello with the win. They go to 7-2 overall, 6-2 in conference play. Ouachita drops to 1-5 overall, 1-4 in conference play. Tigers will hit the road next, February 4th at Southern Arkansas. We will be back on Monday, February 8th. In that Battle of the Ravine matchup when we welcome Henderson State to Bill Vining Arena. For our entire crew, thanks for being with us today. The final score, 81-79, Monticello wins. I'm Michael Westbrook. So long, everybody.